Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Raghuji, will you do the Gita Dhyana shlokas?
पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वामनुसन्दधामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणीम्। नमोऽस्तु ते व्यासविशालबुद्धे फुल्लारविन्दायतपत्रनेत्र येन त्वया भारततैलपूर्ण प्रज्वालितो ज्ञानमयः प्रदीपः प्रपन्नपारिजाताय स्तोत्रवेत्रैकपाणये ज्ञानमुद्राय कृष्णाय गीतामृतदुहे नमः। सर्वोपनिषदो गावो दोग्धा गोपालनन्दनः पार्थो वत्सः सुधीर्भोक्ता दुग्धं गीतामृतं महत्। वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं भीष्मद्रोणतथा जयद्रथजला गान्धारनीलोत्पला शल्यग्राहवती कृपेण वहनी कर्णेन वेलाकुला अश्वत्थामविकर्णघोरमकरा दुर्योधनावर्तिनी सोत्तीर्णा खलु पाण्डवैरणनदिः कैवर्तक केशवः पाराशर्यवचः सरोजममलम् गीतार्थगन्धोत्कटम् नानाख्यानककेसरम् हरिकथा सम्बोधनाबोधितम् लोके सज्जन षट्पदैरहरः पेपीयमानम् मुदा भूयाद् भारत पंकजं कलिमल बद्वंशिन श्रेयसे मूकं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवम् यं ब्रह्मा वरुणेन्द्र रुद्रमरुतः स्तुन्वन्ति दिव्यैस्तवैः वेदैः साङ्गपदक्रमोपनिषदैः गायन्ति यं सामगाः ध्यानावस्थित तद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनो यस्यान्तं न विदुः सुरासुरगणा देवाय तस्मै नमः।
Hari Om. So today we're going to start off with, finish this particular chapter and move on to the 13th chapter in the next after the next classes. But the next classes, I think the next two classes, we will have a quiz which will be composite from chapters 1 to 12. So all the entire set of chapters from 1 to 12, you need to be ready. And today, let us do a small prelude of that particular quiz. So let us start off, and I'm going to leave with you to find out and give me the answer to this. So verse number 17. So if you look at verse number 17, look at verse number 18. 18, we finished with 17. Samashatrau cha mitre cha tatha manapamanayoho. I'm not going through doing the recitations line by line because by now I think all of you have started reading, and this part was also given as homework. So you should have by now at least got the chanting. Samashatrau cha mitre cha tatha manapamanayoho. Hitoshna sukha dukkheshu sama sangha vivarjitaha. Shitoshna sukha dukkheshu sama sangha vivarjitaha. Now, I want you to tell me where else in the Bhagavad Gita do you find the exact words Shitoshna sukha dukkheshu? Where do you find that? I want exact reference. You should be able to find that. Because this is so important that I have touched upon this a number of times. So one of the things that we learned when we were, I was a student in Chinna Mission, and when I'm saying I'm a student in Chinmay Mission, I'm still a student, but not in Chinmay Mission. So one of the things we would do is always be asked questions about what we should be definitely knowing. You'd never be asked a question that was never taught in class, not completely. Gurudev would do that. Gurudev personally would do that. He would tell you X, expect you to be able to internalize and intuitively jump to Y. But in the traditional classes, that was never the way of teaching. So, Shitoshna Sukha Dukkheshu is something that we have talked about. So, please tell me, where have you seen this?
Chapter 2nd, 56.
Chapter 2nd, 56. No, 56 तो नहीं है.
नहीं, wait.
Chapter 2nd, okay, you hit that much right.
Chapter 2. Chapter 2.
Veena already gave us the answer. Chapter 2 तो बोल दिया. आगे बढ़िए.
Yeah. Okay, shloka 14.
Perfect. Thank you. Matra sparshastu kaunteya sukha shitoshna sukha dukkhada. Correct? So, very beautiful.
Yeah.
Why do we need to do this? Why do we need to remember this? Why do we need to do this concatenation? It's called concatenation. When you look at a words and you go jump from here to there, one, it obviously helps you to remember. Two, it helps you to reinforce the learning again. Because when you go back to chapter 2, verse number 14, what did you learn over there? There he did not talk about what he's talking about here. He's changed the perspective, not much, but he's changed it slightly. He's changed it slightly. Now, look at the second reference that he has. There are only two references. Absolutely exact words to only two references. Look for the second. Come on, start. You can't wait so long. क्या हुआ?
सेकंड इज सुख दुखेशु.
किधर है बताइए सेकंड रेफरेंस विच
इसी को खोजना है ना, सुख दुखेशु को.
हाँ, ये इंटरनेट पे खोजना नहीं है, याद रखना
नहीं
है.
इंटरनेट पे नहीं, but वो तो अभी 256 में ही था जो वीना जी ने बताया था, उसी में है सुख दुखेशु.
हाँ, 256 में वो एग्जैक्ट रेफरेंस शीतोष्ण नहीं है ना उसमें. शीतोष्ण सुख दुखेशु. And obviously, along with that, mana apamana. Chapter 6, verse number 7. He says, Jitatmana prashantasya paramatma samahitaha shitoshna sukha dukkeshu tatha mana apamana yoho. He says very beautifully. Right? And what is this sukha dukkha mana apamana shitoshna? These are the three vikaras in the body, mind, intellect composition. Correct? Shitoshna, where do you feel it? Body. Sukha dukkha, where do you feel it? Manas. Mana apaman, where do you feel it? In the intellect. Now, when he is saying this in this particular perspective, he has changed the perspective slightly. In chapter 6 and in chapter 2, when he is talking about it, specifically chapter 6, when he is talking about it, he is talking internally. He is talking of the internalization of samachittata. In chapter 12, when he is talking about this, he is talking about using this samachittata in engaging with the world. He's talking of engaging with the world, which is why if you see the first words he starts with in that particular shloka, he says, Sama Shatraucha Mitrecha. He talks, where are the Shatru Mitra? They are outside, isn't it? They are not inside you. Shatru Mitra, they are outside you. We are not talking of the internal Shatrus. That happened in chapter 6. This is engagement with the external world. I have seen the
Chapter 6 Chapter 6, Shlok 7.
हाँ ये हो गया, मैंने बोल दिया, श्लोक का भी पढ़ लिया भाई. गुड मॉर्निंग.
अच्छा.
He was so busy searching that he forgot this entire discussion has already happened. Right? I just read out I chanted the particular shloka also. Na jitatmana prashantasya paramatma samahitaha. I just sita ushna dushka dukeshu tatha mana apamana yoho. Now what is he talking about here? He's talking internalization, whereas in chapter 12, verse number 18, he's talking of externally changing our behavior. He's talking of changing our behavior. So that is the important aspect here. Then he goes on and says, not only do I change my behavior about how I am to the external world, but I also change my behavior even if the external world is behaving with me or responding or interacting with me. How? He says, Tulya Ninda Stuti Mauni Santushto Yena Kenachit. Tulya, equal. He says equal, right? Tulya Ninda Stuti. Both in Ninda. Ninda means what is called reproach or what is called
Criticism.
criticism. Good word. So the Ninda is criticism, right? Ninduk is critic. So Vibhishan says in Vibhishan, not Vibhishan, sorry, in Vidur Niti, it starts with saying Ninduk Pratama Vande. Start by worshipping the critic, right? Because if you listen to him, you understand him, you have a change in perspective. You may at least have a view that somebody else has a different perspective. So Vidur Niti starts with looking at the external world and says, praise, the worship the Ninduk. So here he says, Tulya Ninda Stutir. Mauni. Being silent. Silent doesn't mean that he doesn't talk. Silent means he's internally silent. Because he is at peace with himself. Santushta. Yena kenachit. With anything. He is satisfied with anything. I remember Sannyasashram in Vileparle in Bombay. The Bade Acharya, Bade Guruji, as he used to be called, when he was in charge. He's no more there. He has given up the body. He would be sitting and it would be very hot. So somebody would say, Pankha chala do. So he would say, deeply nod his head. After some time, the pankha would be disturbing because it would be making some noise. It's in the ashram. The ashram is not very well or doesn't have enough money. So it will be going gadang, 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 gadang. So somebody will come up and say, Pankha band kar do. Exact same nod of head to the same depth, to the same indication. Santushto, yena kenachit. Doesn't matter. You want the fan, put it on. You don't want the fan, put it off. It does not make any difference to me. Now just imagine, how do we behave? 2 seconds, the light goes off. First thing we do, run to the neighbor. We don't call up the electricity board. We call up the neighbor. Tumhara bhi current gaya kya? I don't know why we do this. Right? You don't check your own fuses. You go and ask the neighbor. Life is determined by what other people think. But for the Sthita Pragya, it is irrelevant. Yes, Raghuji, you raised your hand.
So, there was a few days ago, there was a discussion on Sohamananda about karma. And I started introspecting on both the discussion as well as your comment on it. And I realized, okay, first thing is karma and spiritual progress are two different things. Karma to me derives from the laws that govern the universe. Now, if I look at it this way, the universe, the scriptures say it started with a sound. What's a sound? It's a vibration. So everything that is happening there, it's a vibration. A vibration always oscillates evenly about a mean. Okay. So to me, Happy events can be considered as peak. Sad events can be considered as trough. But they exist. If you're sitting on a peak, you're going to see a trough. Okay. So that is going to happen. And this whole thing about, oh, I must have done something bad in my past life, so I'm suffering now, or I must have done something good in my past, that is irrelevant. Because you can keep going back, but then there's a first, and there's the first, what you do. It never in the universe it said that you should only start at zero, and then you should see the trough and then a peak. You could be starting at a peak or a trough. Where you are in the vibration doesn't matter. Now, you mentioned about detachment, okay? And I was reminded of the analogy of sand grains on a vibrating plate. You've seen YouTube videos. They sprinkle sand grains on the plate, they bow it with a violin bow, and the plate vibrates. What happens to the sand grains? The sand grains immediately align themselves at the nodes. The sand grains are not attached to the plate. They are not stuck with glue. There is no attachment. And when they are forced to vibrate, they automatically percolate to the node, the place where there is no vibration. So if you can meet life with absolute detachment, you will also migrate to the node. The whole universe is vibrating around you, but you are not. You are completely unmoved. So it's just something I wanted to put it on. So there's a lot to type.
So very nice, because if you read the book by Richard Bach called The Messiah, which is again one of the prescribed readings in Sohamananda group, I've always told people to read both the Jonathan Livingstone Seagull and Messiah. They're pure Advaitic books, very easily understandable. Read that, and you will find that that's exactly the point. You see, ultimately, you feel that this universe will be actually rotating around you because you have become still. It's not that it is physically actually rotating around you, but you have become still. Now, if I have become still, then everything else is in motion. Therefore, it appears to be rotating around me, which is perfectly all right to be. It's a good place to be in. Right? So, therefore, he says, Tulya Ninda Stutir Mauni Santushta Yena Kenachit Aniketaha. Aniketaha. Niketa. What does the word Niketa mean? Again, a word which we have seen earlier.
बिना घर के.
वेरी गुड. जिसका घर नहीं है, इसका मतलब क्या? What does it actually mean?
सब जगह उसका घर है.
Nothing you call your own.
Sorry?
There is nothing you call your own.
So it starts with by identifying with the place that you live with. Now, generally, for example, you meet somebody.
Or it can be the. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
You go ahead. Or it can be the other way around. It means without any house, or the whole universe is his house.
Socratic thinking works here. Socrates once said that the extremes of anything manifest in a similar way. When you are extremely happy, what happens? You cry. When you are extremely sad, what happens? You cry. External manifestation of extremes always manifests in the same way. Similarly here, the extremes of this manifestation of Aniketa is the world is my house, or I don't have a house. Both are the same. Essentially, again, does this mean that you don't need to have a roof when there is a hailstorm going and you need to stand in the hailstorm saying, oh, I don't have a house, it doesn't matter. No, it doesn't say that. You have been given this body. The body is not yours. It is on loan from Bhumi. Annamaya Kosha is on loan. You have borrowed it from Bhumi. Bhumi Devi will claim it back after a certain number of years. Correct? Then it will turn into gases. If you are Hindu, you go and burn yourself. It will go. The gases will merge with the gases. The liquid will go with the liquid. The solids will merge with the solids. Matter is over. You have repaid the Bhumi loan. But when you take a loan, don't you have to take care of the thing that you have bought with that loan? Because it is not yours. So you have to actually take care of the body. So then what do? Oh, you stand under a tree when there is hail. The tree does not become yours, right? I remember this very beautiful story, Rumi. So some person came to meet him and came to his house looking for him. He came inside and he saw the huge house that Rumi used to live in, but there was no furniture. So he asked, Master, where is your furniture? So Rumi looked at him and said, where is yours? So he said, I am only a visitor. So Rumi said, so am I. We are all visitors. Aniketa means this tendency to accumulate, tendency to not minimalize. And therefore, one of the things that we should do as a practice, start minimalizing. Start reducing this spree of buying things that we do. Right? So that is one. Aniketaha. Sthiramati. This is a very good one. Sthiramati. Sthiramati means that whose mati, intellect, is sthira. And then he says bhaktimana, and then such a man is automatically full of devotion. He is automatically full of devotion. Devotion is not something that is you can acquire. How will I get bhakti? Or you can't get it. Bhakti will happen. How? When you delayer yourself. When you delayer yourself. Let us move to verse number 20, which is the last verse. Samashatrau cha mitre cha tatha manapamanayoho shitoshna sukha dukkheshu samasanga vivarjitah tulya ninda stutir mauni santushto yena kenachit aniketah sthiram matir bhakti man me priyo naraha. These are the two verses together, which are again the final list of qualities. Then he goes on to summarize all of this. Ye tu dharmyamritam idam. Ye tu dharmyamritam idam yathoktam paryupasate. Now again, let us look at the word paryupasana. Where have we come across this word paryupasana? Anybody remembers?
Is that 9th chapter?
Okay, where did you find that?
No, I'm not very sure.
We came across very recently this Paryupasate.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it happened in chapter 11.
So the first time you will find it is where he talks about when you go to such wise people, what do? You do bowing down to them.
Yes.
Pariprashnena.
Yeah.
Right? No, he did not say Pariupasana over there. I am only using the word Pari over there. Right? Pariprashnena. How does he complete?
Actually, in the chapter 12 itself, verse 3.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
There,
what does he say?
Etaksharamida etaksharamaниrdeshyam avyaktam paryupasate.
Yes. Correct. Very good. In chapter 12, he will find this reference again in chapter 20. We have seen this just now. Chapter 1. Even verse 1, he says this, no, in this same chapter. Evam satata yukta ye bhaktas tvam pariyupasate ye chapi aksharam avyaktam. Right? So even in chapter 12, right in the beginning also, he uses the word pariyupasate. What does pariyupasana mean? That is my question.
It's okay. I'll manage. All right.
Hallel definite astu halla.
Etu dharmamritam idam yatoktam paryupasate. Paryupasate. What does paryupasate mean? Paryupasate.
Worship.
So then he could have said upasate. Why use the word pari as a prefix?
I mean,
We saw this when we
Properly.
did. Sorry, Veena ji said something.
Properly.
Properly, yes. Exclusively. Properly. With complete dedication. Then it becomes pari. Parisevaya. Pariprashnena. Parisevaya. Right? When he uses the word pari, it means to be crossing, to be going beyond the normal. So you do it with greater dedication, with greater intensity. So he says, Yetu dharma amritam idam yathoktam paryupasate shraddhanam mat parama bhaktaste tiva me priyaha. Shraddhanam with faith. Shraddhavan labate jnanam. He says that, yes, Lalita ji, you want to say something?
It is in 9th chapter, Ananya Shintayantoma. Ejana Paryupasate.
Correct. 922, very famous verse. Right. So, ye jana paryupasate, again paryupasana. We talked about it over there also. So, he says, Shraddhanam. Now, where did he say, Shraddhavan labate jnanam? क्या हुआ साहब, कोई होमवर्क नहीं करता. See, if you look at the quotation and you analyze it, you will understand which chapter it comes from. Shraddhavan labate jnanam is talking about jnana and action. Jnana, karma, sannyasa, yoga. So it has to be chapter 4. Look at the quotation, automatically you will be able to understand. And now you go back in chapter 4, you will find it is verse number 39. Chapter 4, verse number 39. Shraddhavan labate jnanam, he says. Right? And so there we have seen here, he in this particular verse, he very clearly says, Shraddhana mat parama. Shraddhana mat parama bhakta astetiva me priyaha. Bhakta stetiva me priyaha. Ativa, exceedingly dear to me. Those who follow all these rituals in the sense, all these practices that he has talked about in the earlier verse, these are not qualities. And in chapter 13, again, we will see another list. These are not qualities. They are only practices. Because if you see, if I define them as qualities, then you will say, that is something that you should have, I will not have it. Or you will say, I cannot have it. But if I say it is a practice, then all of us can practice. There is no reason for anybody not to practice. So that is how he ends this particular chapter. So, any questions still now?
Can you again tell me about that pariyu? Why that pari? Para. I think paryupasate, that upasate, why not just upasate? Why the prefix?
Because he thinks, I don't like anything that is done without the completeness of involvement. So go back to chapter 2, verse number 50. Where does he say? What does he say over there? Yoga karmasu kaushalam. I want excellence. And excellence will come to not just upasana. Upasana can be where you sit and you are doing your meditation and you are doing Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya or any other mantra that you are following. And then there is coffee and then there is dosa. Then there is a guest who is supposed to come and the alarm bell rings. All of that is happening. Sorry, Pariupasana will mean exclusively. All of that is out. And it doesn't matter. If it is only 2 minutes, it's 2 minutes. The 2 minutes can then become 4 minutes and then 4 can become 8 and so on and so forth. But you start with that 2 minutes where I want you to do Pariupasana is what Krishna is saying.
Okay.
Okay,
Exclusive.
correct. So, anybody can now do the Sankalpa Vakyam? Anybody knows, remembers the Sankalpa Vakyam? Hello, somebody, it is Srimad.
Om. Okay.
Please, go ahead.
Om Tatsaditi Srimad Bhagavad Geeta Upanishadsu Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastre Shri Krishna Arjuna Samvade Bhakti Yogo Nama Dvadashodhyaya.
Om Shanti Shanti
Shanti
Shanti.
Shanti.
Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.
Om.
Right, next two classes, please prepare. I will send
Next week will you have class?
yeah, why not?
You are
Sunday.
back in
Yeah, I'll be
Bombay in
back
good time?
my flight is at 9 o'clock from Coimbatore. So by 2 o'clock
Yeah.
maximum, I should be home.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, I'm assuming that flights will take off on time and fly on time and so on and so forth. But then
Morning
that's
time flights are usually
so that's
okay.
a fair assumption to make anyway. Chalo. Okay. Hari Om.
Okay. Thank you. Dhanyavad.